Hello everyone. Welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today we have Mr. Seyed Mohammad Azin, who is a well-known lawyer and academic person in Iran and worldwide. He has a PhD in civil law from University of Tehran, where he got his LLM and BA in law as well. Now he's a scientific board member and senior researcher in Royan Institute for reproductive medicine and stem cell. Meanwhile, he practices law as an expertized advocate and the manager of Dr.Azin Law Clinic. Furthermore, Azin teaches in University of Science and Culture, mostly in the field of civil law and Islamic jurisprudence. Azin has published many legal articles in English and Persian, mainly focusing on medical law and ethics. These days, his concentration is on the artificial intelligence law and analyzing AI moral status, considering recent accelerating technological developments. His theory of random human nature, which expresses the moral and legal reasons of ban for human genetic enhancement, led to winning the world championship title in genetics based on International Agency for Standards and Rating on 2017. So without ado, let me introduce you to Mr. Seyed Mohammad Azin. Hello, Seyed. How are you?
Hello, how do you do?
I am doing great, Seyed. Thank you so much for giving us your time, Seyed, and we are happy to have you in this conversation. So let me just ask you a simple question before we further go to the next ones. So please brief us about your journey as a legal professional so far.
Okay, thank you very much. First of all, I would like to thank you and your team for providing this opportunity for me. My road to becoming a law professional started with a tough decision I made when I was 17. When after getting my diploma in math physics field, I changed my field of study to humanities. My parents and friends were shocked then because I was well enough in physics and math to become an engineer. But my love to human studies like philosophy, law, and political science inspired me to change my way. After 1 year of hard study, I got the 7th rank in Iranian National University's entrance exam in 2002 among 600,000 people and entered the University of Tehran, the best law school in my country. I got BA, LLM, and finally in 2016, PhD of private law in the same university without any pause. Meanwhile, I got the advocacy license from Iranian Bar in 2007 and established Azin Law Clinic, which has been developed during these 14 years and now includes several well-experienced attorneys in all legal areas. My main expertise lies in contracts, torts, and real estate claims. However, I have some big records in penal cases, especially violent crimes as well. Aside practicing law in courts, I do research especially regarding medical law and ethics and artificial intelligence law. Being employed in Royan Institute for reproductive medicine and stem cell has led to concentrate my study on medical law and publish many articles in this regard, both in English and in my own native language, Persian. The topics of essays are mainly reproductive law, genetics law, and physician malpractice. In 2007, one of my works titled Legal and Ethical Milestones of Random Human Nature Principle has won the International Agency of Standards and Rating Prize, where I got championship title in genetics and honorary fellowship according to this international agency. In that article, I suggested a moral and legal ban for human fetal enhancement by genome interventions based on nature rule of diversity and predicted emergence of much more abnormalities due to human interference in the natural order of human genome. Recently, my book has been published titled Fetal Personhood, where I discussed moral status of fetus and whether it is a human and must be treated as human or not. During all these years, teaching was my consistent pleasure. I teach law courses in Iranian universities, including civil law, Islamic jurisprudence, and medical law. And I believe teaching makes me updated, and being in touch with young students leads to mind freshness and deeper thinking. These days, I work on a sophisticated subject, developed artificial intelligence moral status, and how we have to treat with it.
Wonderful to hear that, Syed. As I was going through your career change, right? You were doing something else, then you moved to law. So I just want to know a bit more about that. So my next question is related to that only, which is what were the main obstacles, Syed, in your journey as a law professional so far now?
Okay, very good question. I think unjust isolation of my country's citizens was and is the main obstacle. Although I and very talented Iranian lawyers and law professionals try to enhance the life of Iranians regarding implementation of their rights and freedom, the unjustified discrimination against some nations, including Iranians, prevent us from acting our role properly. For example, unjust ban by United Arab Emirates government forbids me to attend your LexTalk conference physically. That's because of my nationality. It's a very unfortunate and shameful manner to treat with a law activist and deprive him from his evident rights and because of his nationality, just because of his nationality. I hope our future world will be a better place if there is no room for discrimination and no room for discrimination, whether on nationality, race, or gender. If we claim for human rights, we have to observe its requirements strictly, and this dualistic approach through human rights and freedom must not be tolerated, at least in the world legal community.
After hearing you, frankly speaking, I got goosebumps, right? You have touched the very right spot by saying all these things, what you are facing, what you have faced and all. Also, while we were explaining your bio, right, to our viewers, we got to know that currently you are working towards artificial intelligence law, right? So how do you look at artificial intelligence law in 2021 specifically, right? What do you think, how it's going to change in the near future? As a future question, I'm asking you.
Okay. Well, I think artificial intelligence accelerating progress will change our concerns and relations a lot. And following this rapid evolution, AI law needs to be progressed as well. Nowadays, due to limited function of artificial intelligence in human routine life, the need for development of AI law and regulations is felt less. But in near future, considering emergent challenges derived from AI progress, like moral status and legal personhood of artificial intelligence, will force us to regulate its relations with humans, its position among social actors, and its probable rights and duties. I believe that the matter of AI personhood and moral status will be our biggest future legal challenge. And now we have to provide a legal system to deal with it properly. Role playing of robots and intelligent machines in interaction with humans, including transactions, work relations, its obedience from human orders, even its degree of independence from the human creators will definitely arise serious legal dilemma that we have to be prepared to resolve in the near future. More genius, more rights. I think it's the unwritten rule of nature. And when we create something more intelligent from many animals, we have to set a series of answers for questions about its probable rights and legal position in the new world that we have ahead. I predict a world with a vast role for AI in social interactions that compel us to define a legal capacity for progress artificial intelligence in order to justify the legitimacy of our legal acts. It is weird, but not surprising, since we have the similar resolution for companies, governments, and all other legal persons that are made up by our minds and do not exist naturally.
Wonderful to hear that, Saeed. And as I know personally, right, after going through a bio before this interview, I know you are not just working towards artificial intelligence, right? You are working for the medical industry as well. And by this interview, the young budding lawyers who all are witnessing this interview will get to know about each and every industry for which you are working and for which you are planning to work. I think in future, you will add more industries into your kitty. So my next question is regarding that only. which is, as a medical law expert, Sayed, how do you see the COVID-19 pandemic management challenges?
Uh, well, I think management of COVID-19 crisis needs a bilateral cooperation of governments and people of all countries. Firstly, the pandemic is not a local issue. Its essence is universal and therefore needs a universal solution. So, for example, helping less developed countries by providing proper vaccines is not just a favor of more developed countries, it's a necessary step forward in the road for defeating coronavirus. Saadi, a famous Iranian poet of 13th century, has a brilliant poem which is written at the entrance of the United Nations building in New York that says, "The humankind are parts of one body which are created of a similar diamond. When one part feels hurt, the other parts feel hurt as well." So the government's cooperation in containing COVID-19 is a universal must, and any discrimination and political approach through these containments must be abandoned. On the other side, the role of people is even more significant. The least necessity is to keep committed to WHO protocols, including wearing masks and physical distancing. I believe that according to most of legal systems around the world, posing any threat to others' healthiness via not wearing masks should be considered as a major fault and should be regarded as the basis for tort crimes. Without role-playing of people around the world, we are not able to pass this regrettable period healthily. Regulation of restricting provisions and suggestion of lockdown is not enough. It is on each of us to comply with WHO protocols and to help ourselves to put an end to this virus.
Wonderful, wonderful to hear you out, Saeed. And I think this is the right time to ask you this question, which I have in my mind for you, as you have been through some fantastic cases, right? Because you have worked for different industries. And so now, please tell us about your most memorable case and what are your key takeaways from there?
I noticed one of them. My most memorable case was an international penal code. On April 2017, one of ISIS terrorist groups called Army of Justice had an assault on Iranian border guard base near the border of Pakistan and killed 9 Iranian guards and kidnapped 1 Iranian soldier named Abbas Barati. Following his family contact, I undertook the kidnapped soldier representation and set a series of endeavors in order to help setting him free. These actions included negotiations with Iranian diplomacy officials and publishing the latest news about my client's situation in order to inform Iranians and the whole world of our concerns for his safety and healthiness. Fortunately, after about 15 months of anxiety and even sometimes helplessness and hopelessness, following Iranian officials' negotiations with Army of Justice and Pakistani government, Saeed was freed and returned to his parents safely. This was my most enjoying succeed, since it was not just a personal victory for me or for my client, but also a national victory for my nation and a triumph over terrorism. When talking to him after his release, I understood how disappointed was he and thanked God for such a miracle which led to his rescue from the camp of brutal terrorists. What I learned from this experience was that patience is the key to success. Sometimes it seems that you do not go advance for a while, but meanwhile you have to keep in mind that your energy does not perish without any results. What you have to do is just patience and to keep going on.
Wonderful, wonderful to hear that, Saeed. So this, although I don't want to get over with it, but yes, time is of the essence. You know it very well, and especially for you because you are a lawyer, right? Each minute counts for you. So this will gonna be my last question, which is, what is your next steps for achieving your goals?
I have plans for developing my law clinic via establishment of links with other accredited law firms around the world. I believe in a world without borders in near future, and its requirements, including the necessity of contact among law firms and law professionals globally. Fortunately, LexTalk World has provided this opportunity for me to brief my activity and capabilities and take the first step. It is my duty to keep my connections with legal intellects around the world strictly and play a bigger role in international legal disputes. I think the world legal community enjoys a great power and potential to change the world in a better way. And I, as a part of it, will act severely to help this change takes place.
Thank you so much, Saeed, for sharing such great insights with us.
Of
And yes,
course,
of course, we will look forward to having a chat with you again in the future on some other trending topics in the international legal industry.
I hope
You are
so.
covering the entire globe, and of course, each and every industry. And for our viewers, if you like this chat with Seyed Mohammad Azin, please like and share this video, and also subscribe to Clickaway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do, and you have more coming from industry leaders. This is Ashish for Let's Talk World.